There are these brand new, super up laws which are presented as a way to prevent voter fraud, but are in fact designed to make it hard for specific people to vote. Black people, elderly people, poor people, and students. I wonder what those demographics have in common. Oh yeah, they're probably gonna vote for this guy.
Sometimes it just is best said straightforward. But look, by even the most conservative estimates, the numbers of Americans who could be disenfranchised by voting laws on Election Day are an affront to our democracy. The Brennan Center for Justice has put that number at as many as 5 million people, but a recent study from the Advancement Project has doubled that number for only one group of voters. An estimated 10 million Latino voters could be affected by voting laws, according to the study. That's nearly half of the 21 million Latino citizens counted by the U.S. Census in 2010. Katherine Culliton-Gonzalez helped me make sense of those numbers.
Sure, yeah. Nearly half of the Latino electorate in our country live in states that have voter suppression laws and restrictions on their rights to vote that have a discriminatory impact. And so, in Pennsylvania, there's a discriminatory impact of the photo ID law. In a number of states, since Florida started purging alleged non-citizens, they've recently got access to federal immigration data, and they're attacking naturalized citizens or looking to purge or check naturalized citizens on the voting rolls in a way that's really un-American. It would create two classes of citizenship, and it's happening right now. So that, and this has an impact beyond just the one person who's checked. This is really resonant of the poll taxes and literacy test for which the Voting Rights Act was founded. So there are many folks who could actually pass the literacy test or pay the poll tax, but it had a discriminatory impact.
So when you say 10 million, you're not saying necessarily that 10 million people will be kept from the polls, but you are, I mean, if you pay the poll tax, you get to go vote, but it doesn't mean you're not impacted by the poll tax. Is that sort of
exactly? Or in Florida, 2,600 people got letters saying prove your citizenship within 30 days, otherwise you could be committing a felony and not vote. And so that affects many people in the Latino and African immigrant community as well. And that's why we brought litigation about it. We have the proof of the disparate impact, but we know people who got a letter like that who are too afraid to answer, and we know relatives and the Puerto Rican community even are getting afraid in Florida. We hope that they do continue to vote because this is another type of poll tax that has a discriminatory impact on voters of color, specifically Latinos. So the impact is more than just the folks who got the letters.
And Ari, when you were talking about fear, we're talking about fear that Latino voters may have around what this suppression effort is, but you were also talking about the fear that the Democratic Party may have in pushing back against rules like this.
Exactly. I mean, Democrats have this concern that if they take on these issues, which are obviously Democratic issues, constitutional rights, voting, and in their political interests, if you want to look at it that way.
Both.
Double bottom line, and yet they worry that somehow they will look soft on crime or pro-criminal by talking about these rights. And there is such an obvious comparison there to the very strict, rigorous defense of total freedom to carry weapons, all kinds of weapons by every mainstream Republican out there. Even in the face of shootings and other tragedies that happen.
Doubling down in the face of those shootings.
Exactly, and that's when you hear them the loudest. And so I think it's just a contrast where, while the equities, I think, line up very differently, there is a reward for strength in politics and standing by what you believe in and not letting the caricature become the reality. So I think the Democrats should come out strong and say, no, it's not about whether we like criminals or not. It's about a right, and we're going to fight for it and not worry about what is essentially a misreading of the issue.
Up next, in big and small ways, just how coordinated this effort is. This is such a great point. You just got to stand up.